molecular machines are made up of a number of parts, and those parts are generally proteins. Now, most people think of proteins as something you eat, but we have found out that proteins are actually very intricately shaped machines themselves. They're made up of a string of things called amino acids. They're typically 100 to 500 amino acids in length, and they're very, very specifically shaped, so that if one protein is like this, in order to bind the protein, it's got to have exactly the right shape to fit in with another one. In molecular machines like the flagellum and the cilium and so forth, dozens of proteins are needed to interact with each other in very specific ways to produce the function. It turns out in the past decade or so, some scientists have looked to see what is the probability of getting just one of those proteins. And it turns out to be very, very, very difficult. A man named Hubert Yockey, just by using mathematical techniques, calculated the probability of finding just one single protein to be 1 in 10 to the 65th, which is an extraordinarily low probability. It's like finding one atom in the entire, one specific atom out of all those in the entire galaxy. And this has been experimentally confirmed by a man named Robert Sauer at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That is, he has confirmed that it's very unlikely for these proteins to be produced. Now, a question arises, if it's so difficult to produce one protein, how do we get molecular machines which contain dozens of proteins, all working together in very specific ways? And the simple answer is we haven't a clue. That is, Darwinian theory hasn't a clue. If the proteins had to arise independently, then the probabilities would just go astronomical, even more astronomical, very, very quickly. Another question is, in the cell replicates, but how does it replicate? It turns out that protein machines make new copies of DNA, but the DNA codes for the proteins that make copies of it. So there's this kind of circular loop where the DNA codes for the proteins and the proteins produce the DNA. How did that get hooked up in the first place? How did the DNA-protein connection get together? And again, it's a very brief answer. We don't know. There has been no experiment, even no theoretical investigation on how that could have happened, even though people have been interested in the question of the origin of life and so on for many, many years. And the very intractability of this question, I think, points to the conclusion that we're just looking at this problem wrong. We're looking at it through the wrong lens, a Darwinian naturalistic lens, and I think it might be time to take a fresh look.